So, hello everyone. Welcome back. I am Locating Cozy. I am Yolanda and I am Locating Cozy. And this is a broad chat. So, I want to apologize first of all because clearly I was supposed to be going live yesterday and clearly that didn't happen. Life was happening and I had to take care of business because I like my income. How about that? So, I decided just to go ahead instead of trying to do a live this week. I just decided to go ahead and do the recording and talk about the subject that I wanted to talk about, which is um, part two of the logistics of pet sitting full time and what kind of happens after you've actually secured that pet sit. So I wanted to just, yeah, share my experiences, my insight, and hopefully I can answer as many questions as possible. Regarding, I guess, the list that I've kind of created. Okay, so before we get started, of course, I always want you to remember that I hope that you are enjoying the information and being entertained by the information that I do share with my insight. I hope I also provide a couple little giggles. And so please do make sure that you like and subscribe. There's a little banner down at the bottom there. So please make sure that you do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I do come on live or when I upload any more vlogs. Okay, thank you. So again, this is a broad chat with Locating Cozy, and I usually come on live to talk about things, but today I'm going to give myself a little bit of leniency and give myself a little bit of time to edit. So one of the things about me doing doing the lives is I'll have some insight about something, or I want to share a screen about something, or a video, or a picture of a pet that I've been taking care of. Like I just finished taking care of Frida. And I just finished that pet sit. It was a week long. And so I like to insert pictures sometimes. And I'm not good at sharing. I can do a Zoom meeting, no problem. I can do, Google Meets or whatever, no problem, and share screens. But I'm still not quite comfortable sharing the screen on the live stream yet. So this will give me time to go back and insert as needed. I like to also make sure that you remember part of this journey is that I want you to figure out how to locate your cozy, how to find what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable, what are the things that bring you joy in your life, and figuring out, maybe discovering them, and implementing a plan that could possibly get you to where you want to go, or where you want to be, maybe your new journey. Right now, I am in Spain. I have relocated here, and I will continue saying that until the visa is finally completed, and then I'll say the big "I moved here" words. So right now, I am in between pet sits. I have one that ended on Tuesday and another one that starts on this Saturday. And so now I'm in an Airbnb for a few days, and it's actually really nice. The cool thing about this experience right now with being in Madrid is that I have stayed. I think one night I did stay. I stayed at one Airbnb that was by the Puerto, which is the main train station here in Madrid, and I spent one night there, and then I went to my pet sit that was a week long, and now I'm in another neighborhood, and none of these areas are quite touristy. Actually, they're not touristy really, but just very busy inner city. And so, anyways, I'm staying in this other neighborhood now. It's called Chez Martin. If I'm butchering it, sorry, Chez Martin. Okay. Anyways, I'm here and I'm on the what is listed as the penthouse. So let me tell you what the penthouse really is. Penthouse just means top floor because I'm on the third floor, and the penthouse also means that you probably won't have a direct elevator that goes up to that floor. So I did ask the person who listed this place, you know, hey, how many floors? Because remember, always ask that when you're in another country. Ask. Don't just assume because it says first floor that is actually on the first floor, because that's not usually how that works. Anyways, I asked the person, you know, what floor is this on, and is there an elevator, is there a lift? And he said there is an elevator, and I did misunderstand part of it, but I thought he was saying that the first floor didn't have the elevator. So I was like, okay. So we worked out a deal, because at first I was going to decline, and then he came back with a better offer, which was funny because I have to say this person gave me a price And he told me that, there were some stairs, and I was like, that's okay. And came back and he said a few minutes later, he's like, well, I'm just trying to see if you're still interested because I have somebody else that's interested. And I said, that's okay. I will pass. And then he came back with a much lower price. Okay. Okay. So anyways, I'm here. I get here. It has an elevator. You just climb up like one little flight of stairs. You climb up one little flight of stairs to get to the elevator, which was like maybe 4 stairs. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. I go up, I get on the elevator, and there is floor, it goes up to floor 2. And I'm like, where's floor 3? Didn't you say floor 3? Yeah. So you get off the elevator at floor 2, and then, or was it Piso? I think it's Piso, is the floor. Yeah, it's Piso. That's first floor, second floor. Anyways, the bottom line is I got off on floor 2 and realized that I had to go up the stairs. It was 15 more stairs up to the 3rd floor. So I get here. Wonderful. Somebody in the building actually just helped me carry my stuff up because I have my duffel bag. Anyways, the lady next door was very nice and helped me just get my stuff upstairs, get in. And yes, it's a very nice place. This is all you're going to see of it, but it's a very nice place. It has a wonderful little terrace balcony. And it has AC because let me tell you something, Madrid just got really, really hot. It's like 90, which even when I'm in Texas, when I'm in Houston or in Dallas, I'm inside. So I'm not worried so much about it being 90 degrees because we have central AC there. So here, it's not central, again, it's the window, I guess the individual units that goes into the rooms. And at first, I turned the AC on because I was hot and I couldn't figure out. It was just the fan was blowing and that was it. I was like, oh my God, it's really hot in here. What's going to happen next? So anyways, I figured it out. I figured out how to get the air flowing, and now it's just been wonderful. It's okay. Like right now, I think it's like 90 degrees, and it actually feels okay when you're walking outside. Put some sunscreen on because this is a different kind of sun. Okay, so yeah, anyways, I walked around and just, kind of got lost, and it did feel good outside. Well, I mean, this was like about 2 hours ago, but it feels good outside. But just to come into the house or the flat, and it be like really hot, I immediately went and turned the AC on, and it cools down really fast. So I'm enjoying it. I do, from what I understand, like the electricity is a lot here, especially if you're running the fan or the AC inside, and so which is, I guess it's like extra expensive here in Spain, from what I understand. I could be wrong, but with that, I'm moving to my flat in a couple of months, and I will be paying. I'm just going to be budgeting in. They said that the lady that actually is renting the flat that I'm looking at moving into, she said her electricity runs about 40 euro a month. Okay, so that comes out to like maybe what I think $45-50, something like that. Anyways, um, let's see. So yeah, that comes out to $43. Yeah. So anyways, I feel like I'm going to be consuming a lot more electricity. The person that is living there now, I think she's from California, so I could be wrong, but I've heard some nightmares in certain cities. That in certain cities, if you run the electricity a lot, especially the AC, that it can get really expensive. And that's just a cost that I'm willing to incur because right now I'm quite comfortable with this AC running. It feels good. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happens once you get that pet sit, right? Right. So first of all, if you have not already, please do. I'm going to put in the links or in the comments. I think it is, the vlog that I did, or the live stream that I did last week, is under live, and it's out there in my YouTube channel world. The vlog that I did last week was basically just figuring out taming the wild logistics of pet sitting, and it talks about everything. That was actually a pretty long vlog. I think it was like an hour and 45 minutes, but I think I was pretty detailed, besides my, rant that I always start just talking about random stuff that's going on in my life. Besides that, it was pretty detailed, from why do you want a pet sit? Why would you consider doing it? The interview process, all kinds of things. So please do go back and check that out. The link is in the description. I will put it someplace up. Maybe I put it across the screen. I don't know, but definitely check that out so you can know possibly where to start. And then we come into this part where we talk about, okay, so now you got the pet sit. Congratulations. So sometimes what the questions that have been asked are things like, does the owner pay for travel for you to travel there? So I just want to be clear on this part. Um, for the platforms that most people, like myself included, that we use, is like trusted house sitters, and for that, you don't get reimbursed at all. Your travel expenses, if you have to like get an Airbnb the night before the pet sit begins, that's all a cost that you have to incur. The trade-off is you get free lodging while you're taking care of the pets. And if you've done your due diligence, you're going to be staying at accommodations that suit your needs also. It's not just about what the needs are of the pet owner, which is important, make no mistake. But you also want to make sure that you're finding a place that you believe is going to suit your needs. So I have seen sometimes people that want to pet sit, they might say like, oh, well, there's a pet sit, that's a plane ride and a train and all this distance away, and I have to take that pet sit because they accepted me. I've said this before in the previous vlog, but please don't just take a pet sit just to be accepting a pet sit. You want to make sure that, one, either hopefully you're going to visit, family or friends at the location, or it's someplace that you already wanted to visit. So you already had some kind of plans or idea that you wanted to go and enjoy this city, this state, this country, wherever it is. It is not, I feel like it is not in the best interest of anybody just to accept a pet sit that's maybe across country in an area that you just don't want to be in, just to say that you got a sit. Now, with that, if I know that I'm planning to go to, if I want, no, I want to go and stay in Mexico for a while, or I want to look at all my options in Mexico, then yes, I will start looking at the different pet sit opportunities in Mexico and maybe in the areas that I would like to go check out. Like, again, I was applying for pet sits between Mexico City, Puerto Vallarta. I was kind of looking more inland when I got my first pet sit in Mexico back in December, that I did in December. But I already knew that I did not care. For me, I did not want to go to Merida. I wasn't really too open. Well, I won't say not open to Tulum, but I knew that I wanted to keep my flight and travel time somewhat close to Mexico City, because I knew I was going to be in Mexico City because there were some people there that I wanted to meet up with. Hello, Rashida. Hello, Dara, and Ava. But yeah, so I knew that I wanted to go to Mexico City. So there was a spot there that I knew I had to try to find a pet sit there. But when my first pet sit that I came across that I was accepted was in Puerto Vallarta, I went back and looked at the logistics. Actually, before that, I had already, I just thought about that. Duh. Before that, I actually had been accepted for a pet sit in, oh God, what was it? What was it? La Paz, Big Sur, Big Sur, Baja, California, La Paz, Mexico. So I'd actually been accepted, and I think I accepted this pet sit like maybe 6 months earlier. So that was just something where I was like, well, I will be, it's not close to Mexico City, but I was like, I want to start there. And I started doing my research on La Paz, and I was like, oh, this is great. So I was excited about that. And then when I got the pet sit, that was going to be for 3 weeks. It was originally for like 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I was going to fly over to La Paz from Puerto Vallarta to La Paz. And then I found out that in order to get to Puerto Vallarta from La Paz, to La Paz, was going to be a big flight hassle. Like, it was going to take there was no straight shot going from Puerto Vallarta to La Paz. And so I had to weigh the pros and cons, and I had to really think about it. And I just, in the end, I ended up canceling the one in La Paz. And I mean, this person had like 2 months notice. So it wasn't like I canceled like at the last minute. But I canceled the pet sit in La Paz and went ahead and stayed with the one that was in Puerto Vallarta. It was longer. And it was, I didn't have to worry about the logistics of maybe getting to Mexico City to Puerto Vallarta versus from um, La Paz. So with that, I selected the pet sit in Puerto Vallarta. And then from there, I started doing more. It seems like once you're actually in a location, the pet owners or homeowners are more open to, it just seems like I was getting more opportunities for pet sits once I was actually in Mexico. So from there, I was able to book a pet sit in Mexico. And from there, I was able to book a pet sit in San Miguel de Allende, which is like, I think, 3 hours north of Mexico. So I say all that because, again, if you're asking about do you have to pay for your own travel expenses, the answer is yes, you do. So the flight that I got from Texas down to Puerto Vallarta, I had some miles, I had some reward miles. And so it came out of pocket. It was not that expensive. But yeah, I have to get myself there. And then when I was headed to Mexico City, I had to get myself there. So I was looking at plane, train, or automobile. I wasn't doing automobile. And then from Mexico City going to San Miguel, I took a bus, which, yeah, I took a bus there. It was a really nice bus. And yeah, so I went up there, had to pay for that. As far as your accommodations the day before or maybe a few days before, that's up to you. I have done pet sits like when I was in Puerto Vallarta. I stayed in an Airbnb the first 2 nights, which was a very nice Airbnb that was right on the peninsula, not peninsula, on the coast, and oh God, what do they call it? Anyways, it was like a block away from the beach. And then I, went and stayed on my pet sit. When I was in Mexico City, I got an Airbnb for 4 days before my pet sit began. Now, when I went to San Miguel de Allende, the homeowners actually offered to, put me up for the night. So I stayed there for 2 nights with them in the house. It was like this 5-bedroom home. So I stayed there and saved my money. That is not always the case. I've been finding more often that homeowners, once you build that rapport with them and they know that you're coming from, different, a different area or what have you, they are very welcoming. But for the most part, I am expected and I am anticipating that I will be paying if I get there the day before to do the pre-check-in, or a couple of days before. I am expecting in my mind that it's in my budget to actually make sure I have secured accommodations. If by chance the owner is like, hey, you can come stay with me and their house is, seems okay, that's where I'm staying. I think I've done that maybe 3 times so far. Yeah, because in Barcelona, my last sit before this one in Barcelona. So yeah, 3 times so far I've actually stayed at the homeowner's house before they actually left, and it's been fine. So there are some situations where the homeowner might really want you. Maybe they've actually, maybe you've probably sat for them or did a pet sit for them before, and they just are totally like love you, love you, love you, and they know that you take great care of their pets. I've definitely heard of some situations where the homeowners have actually flown, set a person, a pet sitter in, said, look, I really need you, and they've actually brought them in. It could be that they decided to do a paid gig that's offsite, or maybe that was just the reimbursement was the travel. I don't know, but it is a possibility, not an expectation. Fair enough? Okay. What else as far as travel expenses? The other thing that's happened is when I have gotten to certain destinations, I've been, they might offer to cook, or they might take you out to dinner. I've been, taken out to dinner a couple of times by the homeowners. Again, none of that is expected, but it is a great appreciation and a nice surprise that they're like, hey, let me just show you around town. So that does happen sometime. Um, One of the other questions that you might have to consider is uh, transportation. These are things that you should definitely, you might accept a pet sit And then maybe you realize that, oh, the transportation is going to be an issue. Hopefully you have selected a pet sit that if you realize that it's too much of an issue, that you will be able, that you can like cancel before the pet sit is really close. But definitely do your research as far as transportation needs. Again, I am a city person. I don't really care to do like, mountainside or, countryside, or I don't know, anything that's really secluded. That's not my thing. I've seen pet sit listings where they're like, you need to have your own car when you're coming. So if they stay someplace, in a different area that there's no public, there's no train system, there's no bus systems, there's no like easy way in an Uber or taxi to get there. They are specifically saying to you, you need to have a car. Listen to what they're saying. They're being very honest with you. And so please don't accept a sit and be like, oh, we'll figure that out later on. If they say that you need a car and they're not going to let you use their car, then know that you need to get a rental car or secure some kind of way to drive wherever it is that you need to get to. There are some owners that say, yes, you can use their car. They might just say that you have to pay like some kind of fee, like whatever the insurance difference is, the premium for the coverage during that time. That might be the case. Some just don't care. I don't know. I've never had that situation. And quite frankly, for me, I don't want to use the owner's cars. That's just me. But then again, the likelihood of me being in an area where I cannot easily access a taxi or an Uber or a bus or something, it's highly unlikely, never say never, but highly unlikely that I would be in that situation. But for some, you have no problem, like if they say you can use our car, you can be like, okay, and deuces, I'm out. Here's the whatever extra 12 euro or whatever to add me to the insurance or list me as an extra driver while it's happening. If you do, I don't know the legalities about or how insurance works in different countries. I would say if you choose to, and again, you might just be using somebody's car, in the US. That's cool too. But find out, like, if you're added to the insurance, who pays the deductible? Yeah, yeah. Ask those questions. It's good to know. So, God forbid if something happens, and you wreck their car, you know who's going to be responsible for the deductible. Okay, so there's that. I'm trying to think of anything else as far as expenses. Oh, the food in the household. So, as far as the expenses, I was also going to add that a lot of times, yeah, owners are like, whatever's in the pantry, whatever's in the fridge, enjoy. They might every now and then say, like, please don't touch, my Totino's pizzas, rolls. I don't know. There might be some things that they'll say, please don't touch. If they ask you not to touch the liquor, please go buy your own. Okay. But for the most part, I've only had one situation occur where the owner was like, whatever you use as far as what's in the fridge, please do replace it or leave money for it. I've had that happen one time. That was the person with the wall of mask. And there was nothing in that fridge besides eggs, there was nothing in the fridge or in the pantry that was like tempting me to be like, I got to eat that. No, I have been in certain households where I get very nostalgic about some things that they might have. And they're like, one day there was a can of chili. And I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a chili cheese dog and I don't know how long. Yeah. So, but overall, that's an expense that can be lessened if they're like, don't worry about, replacing just whatever's there. Just, enjoy. Again, don't go grocery shopping in their house. Please don't do that. If somebody says to you, if somebody says to the pet sitter that please enjoy, that does not mean go grocery shopping. If they say to that there's laundry detergent, please do help yourself if you need to do some laundry. It does not mean to take 50 pods with you when you leave. Yeah, so please don't do that. The other thing, there was something that came up, and I may have already mentioned this in the previous vlog. If I did, then it was just meant for me to say again. Somebody said, well, what about toilet paper and paper towels and things like that? So here's the deal. If I'm there for like a couple of days, I would expect for them to have at least, like maybe a pack of toilet paper in the house. It's not something that I'm going through a checklist and checking to see. But if there's like, hopefully a few rolls that are in there that's going to last, whatever the short amount of time that I'm there, then I appreciate that. I would expect to at least have some toilet paper in there for some initial atmosphere, paper towels initially. But after that, like if I'm there for like longer than a week, if I need to go buy a whole pack of toilet paper or a whole pack of paper towels because I'm going to be there for 2 weeks or a month, I'm going to go do that. Um, yeah, I don't have a problem. There have been, I guess, some statements before that I've heard people saying, it's like, why wouldn't they make sure that you had enough toilet paper to last you a month? Why? I again, I don't have a problem with if I need to get some, what do they call it, sundry items or just personal hygiene, well, not personal hygiene, some household items, then I don't have a problem doing that if I'm going to be staying there. That's the least of my worries. I try to maintain also using the cleaning products that they have in their house, if they have, because some people have very specific um, cleaning products that they want used on different types of things, like on their dining table versus what they used to mop the floor and all that stuff. So because they're worried about the different chemicals and and things like that. The one thing that I will go by, if I don't see it already, I'm going to get a new sponge for the kitchen. I'm going to make sure that it's a new sponge. I do not like using used sponges in the kitchen or in the bathroom. I don't. So if they don't have any under the sink that I can just easily grab one of the new ones, I will go to the store and get that. That's an expense. I will eat that cost. But yes, I will go to the store. And yeah, I bring my own personal hygiene items. I don't want to use, this is me. I don't want to use anybody else's soap. I like my particular soap, body wash, things like that. So those personal items, I'm not using anybody else's. And a lot of times I've gotten like little gift baskets. Now those, yeah, of course. But also I'm still leery about that because I have very sensitive skin. So in order for me not to break out in any kind of hives or whatever, I'm very particular about what I'm using on my skin, just basic stuff. But I do appreciate that. But as far as like, their open bottle of whatever, I'm not using it. I just want to have my own comfort, my own things. Mm, okay. The other thing, again, this might just be one long vlog, but let's go with it. The other thing that I do, well, when I was traveling in Texas, because I would go between Houston, Austin, and Dallas, is I would bring my own sheets, and I have my own blanket and my own pillow. Now, for the most part, that was just me because I was driving and I want to have my own things and things that bring me comfort. But now I'm not in the States. I've done pet sits in Mexico, or like when I've gone to California, or when I've done a pet sit in California or in North Carolina. I was working with what I had. They gave me they showed me the guest room. They showed me what pillows I could use, and that's fine. And I will do everything to make myself comfortable. Um, if Yeah, sometimes you just have to adjust. If I had a vehicle here in Spain, yes, I would still be going to the store. But now I'm using the pillows. Everything looks clean, just like in an Airbnb. I'm usually not bringing my own pillows if I'm traveling. If there is some inflatable pillow that works really great, I will be researching that soon, though. But right now, I'm good. I do miss having my own sheets and all that, but it's when it comes to like dragging luggage around, it's just not the top of my it's not at the top of my list of priorities of things to do. Okay. But who knows? We'll see. What I was going to say before was just about the cameras in home. I know I touched on this before, but let me just add on here. Cameras in home. Usually their cameras all outside the perimeter of the home, and the pet owners will usually, or homeowners will usually point them out. If there's any cameras in the home, they will usually let me know, and they will say, I'm going to disconnect this before I leave the home, before they leave. Or if I remember, I go through the home and check to see like the cameras that they pointed out, and I'll go and make sure that they're disconnected. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, people have asked me before, it's like, don't you just want to go through their stuff? And it's like, what do you mean? It's like they've given me like free range of their home. And if somebody says, please don't go in our room, I'm not going to go in their room. Why would I do that? I have, they're like, here's where the food is, here's where the dogs sleep, here's where you can sleep, here's the Netflix the Netflix set up for the guest person to come and enjoy Netflix and all this, and here's our Wi-Fi information. Just please don't go in our room, or please don't go in this particular room, or please don't, take anything out of the garage. I don't know. Why would I do that? So here's the thing. I would never be caught, because even though all the cameras that they might notify me about, if there's a camera in their room and they said don't go in the room and they see you go in that room, who are you gonna complain to? You weren't supposed to be in the room. So it's like, I know I will say this: if you have an urge in your spirit that you have to go snoop and go through people's things and look to see what's what, maybe house sitting is not for you. Okay, that should be the furthest thing from your mind, because you're going to get busted eventually if somebody respectfully says stay out of this area, or please don't use our gym equipment. Maybe they just have, maybe, yeah, something as simple as that. They're like, please, we would prefer it if you don't use the gym equipment, because I don't know, maybe there's something wrong or whatever. But if they have a camera just like right there in that room where they said please don't touch something, you look like a complete idiot if you went in that room anyways, or use something that they asked you not to use. You cannot be like, why would you have a camera on right here? Why would you go in there? So just FYI, be aware of that. If you're a snooper, yeah, pet sitting or house sitting probably ain't for you. Okay. Or unless you've gone through some deep intensive therapy, yeah, don't do that. Okay. Next. So next, I was going to talk about your options as far as when you have something scheduled. One of them is like, as I brought it before, is having pet sits that are like scheduled for far in advance. That can be a advantage, and also it can be a disadvantage, because, for example, I knew that I wanted to go visit my family in North Carolina. And this was like, I think I did my first pet sit in November 2022. And at the beginning of 2023, I saw a listing in North Carolina for a pet sit. That was far, but not too far from where my family lived. And I was like, okay, well, I could rent a car and still like go and see them. And I did tell, when I did interview, because I applied for the sit, and immediately the couple was like, oh my gosh, somebody actually wants to come out here to this small town, North Carolina, right? And I was excited for this opportunity, because in my mind, I already had my plan for what's going to be happening in the next year. So I was like, well, if I go ahead and do the pet sit in North Carolina, I can go visit my dog who's there also. I mean, I love my family, but I also would get to see my dog. And then from there, I was planning on, I was like, and then you're going to go to Mexico. I didn't have any pet sit at that point in Mexico, but that was just my mental plan on what I was going to do. So what happens sometimes is, I immediately talked with this wonderful couple. They were very, very sweet, very nice couple. And I was like, yes, I will come to North Carolina. I'm going to be there anyways. I want to visit my family. So I'm going to make my way and just do this pet sit there. Well, then life starts happening. So imagine a year in advance, I have done this commitment, but life starts happening. I'm transitioning into new opportunities. I'm realizing, like a couple of months later, I realized like I really want to move to Spain. How do I make that transition? I wanted to go to Mexico, and I wasn't sure like of the dates yet. And so I just really started considering. And then also the other factor is, I'll be honest, after I had done a couple of pet sits and gotten a couple of them under my belt, and I realized what my preferred location for pet sits, what my preferred locations are, I realized that small town USA in North Carolina, well, yeah, small town USA anywhere right now in the US, but that's another story. Um, it made me uncomfortable. One of the things that I always ask whenever I do a video, when I do an interview for a pet sit, is, will your neighbors know that I am there? Will you? Yeah. So because I don't need anybody calling the cops or getting up in my business because I'm staying at your house and they didn't know that you were out of town, like it was their duty to police your house if they see me, the black woman, there. So I really started, and maybe I started getting in my head a little bit, but you know what? it's the reality of the world we live in. I really, when I started like doing more research on the town, I was like, that's a little bit too far for me. And that's a little bit too secluded. Even, it was a small town, but I talked to my family that lives close by, and they were like, yeah, that's kind of out there in the boonies, girl. I was like, oh. So that was another thing I had to really consider. So life changing and just rethinking some options. Now, the good thing was I came to that realization early on because the pet sit wasn't going to even be until like what I think it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas 2023. So with that, I was able to, I called them, I think it was in June, and I said, it was like May or June that I contacted them, this wonderful couple. And I said, something else has come up. I'm not going to be able to make this. And again, they were absolutely wonderful because it was still 6 months in advance. They were trying to get somebody in because they knew it was going to be hard to get somebody to come to their small town during the holidays. But for some people, if it's also, oh yeah, the other thing is weather in that area. I am not cool with the snow. And that's just not me. So I had to consider, do you want to be around snow and can you drive on snow? Not I. I will have a purity big old anxiety attack. So that can't be happening either. So all these things considered, I did reach out to them far in advance to let them know. So it's good. Of course, you always want to let the homeowner, pet owners know far in advance that something's come up. It's just not cool just to cancel, at the last minute just because, not saying that something didn't happen, maybe just because you didn't feel like it. Now, we all understand that last minute emergencies do happen. Case in point, right before I left to come here to Spain, I did a pet sit in Austin. I was on my way to do a pet sit in Austin because I needed to go get some legal documents done for my visa application. And I was like, well, you know what? I will just find a pet sit in Austin around that time. So then I don't have to worry about paying for lodging, and I'll be able to get the work done and keep these wonderful dogs. So um, I got to Austin a day or two, one day early. I got to Austin on a Sunday evening. The owners actually invited me to stay at their house. Really cool, funky house. Had these two big dogs that the husband had to show me how to walk the dogs because they can be a little rambunctious and aggressive on leash. And I'm like, okay. So, anyways, um, the day that I got there, uh, for the pre-check-in the day before, and I came to stay at their house, and the wonderful owner, the wife gave me a hug, and she's like, "I'm so happy to see you." And then in this next breath, she said, "I haven't been feeling too good." I'm like, you just gave me a hug. Why would you do that? Anyways, everything is fine. I am sitting at their dining table. I'm not dining table, their island in the kitchen, and I'm getting some work done. And they're doing their own things after we did the walkthrough and blah blah blah. Well, anyways, the next morning, they were supposed to be leaving about maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm downstairs in the kitchen getting some work done, waiting. So because I can't really get completely comfortable, like snatching hair off and just being, really comfortable until everybody's out the house. Okay, so I can have my comfort. Um, and like hour, 2 hours passed, and I was like, what is going on? Didn't hear the dogs barking, didn't hear anything. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. In my, Lifetime movie mind, in my, I've been watching too much ID channel mind, I was like, somebody that killed everybody, including the dogs. That was in my mind. Did I get any kind of weird vibes? Absolutely not. But when they didn't come down, the dogs weren't barking. I didn't hear anybody moving around because I was downstairs in their guest bedroom the whole time. In my mind, as I'm working, I'm like, ooh. And every scenario starts playing in my brain. Just, yeah, I was like, okay, girl, okay. And I'm thinking about my escape route. It's like, I don't know. So finally, anyways, the bottom line is this. Yeah, your mind can play tricks on you, especially if you watch a lot of like the criminal minds and all kinds of those shows. But anyways, and I'm texting them, and I'm not getting any answer. So again, mind kind of going. Finally, the wife replied, and she said, "I have been sick. I have serious fever. Um, I'm not going to make the trip." She was like, "I'm not making the trip." The husband came down, and he was like, "You're welcome to stay because we know that we were supposed to be gone, and you're welcome to stay here." So two things. appreciated that so very much. Really did appreciate that offer. And also, no, for two reasons. One is if I'm staying at somebody's house and I was supposed to be pet sitting, that meant that nobody else was going to be in the house. So I can be at my most comfortable level when I'm in your house. So however I want to walk around and be comfy is how I'm going to do that. And if I'm staying here and you're still here, the pet owners are still here, I'm not going to be at my most comfortable, right? Number two, your wife is sick. I am leaving this country in a few weeks. I have to go get some paperwork, and um, and I need to do my best to make sure I don't get sick in any way because I'm going to go see my family in Spain, and I don't want anything to detour that effort. Right. The funny thing about that was when the husband said, you could, you're welcome to stay. She would love the company and stuff. So when I'm working, and I was like, wait a minute. You want me to stay here and look after your wife, your sick wife, while you go to work? It was so smooth how it was put in there. Again, very, very nice couple, but I was like, that sounded like you want me to stay here and take care of her and look out for her while you go do your stuff. Nope, not doing that. So, anyways, um, with in that situation, it was last minute. Life was happening, right? So I have trusted house sitters premium. And hold on a minute, just a minute. Hold up. So I'm back. So I just wanted to do this really fast because as I said this, I have Trusted House Sitters Premium. And with that, it provides a certain insurance that says if you have a last minute cancellation, and I think it's within 2 days or something like that, you will be reimbursed. I think it's up to $250 per night. I don't, that might not be right. I can't remember the exact amount, but you get reimbursed for whatever you had to pay for that lodging to cover, and they cover that cost. Now, let me just say this. They don't give you the money up front and be like, let's go ahead and pay for your hotel now. You have to get your own accommodations if something like that happens. If you have to, if you're a pet owner and at the last minute your pet sitter cancels and you have to like kennel them and that's an out-of-pocket cost, then you will get reimbursed. If you are a pet sitter and you all of a sudden cannot complete the pet sit because something happened with the homeowner or they got sick or you were it was an unsafe situation, I don't know. The bottom line is you have to submit the paperwork and you will get reimbursed. Now with that, I'll let you in a little secret. I didn't know what the maximum was as far as per night reimbursement, and so I ended up getting an Airbnb that was like, I don't know, I want to say it was like $100 a night. I didn't know until afterwards that you can get reimbursed by trusted house sitters. There is a $50 deductible that they automatically take off of that, whatever the reimbursement amount is that they're sending to you. But I submitted my paperwork. I submitted the chat conversation, my WhatsApp. I did screenshots of the WhatsApp communication that I had between the couple regarding what came up that led to me not completing the pet sit. And then I also sent them receipts for my Airbnb. And I think I was reimbursed within, it took like paperwork, well, the submission, communication, all that. I want to say it maybe took 2, maybe 3 weeks to get reimbursed. That was my situation. So I'm very thankful. I do know I've never had to use it, and I used that reimbursement or the insurance for that. Never had to use it, but I do know now that if it happens again, I will make sure that I am using the maximum allowed nightly. So I'm going to get me a nice hotel because the Airbnb I ended up staying at was kind of trash. I mean, it was an accident, but it was still kind of trash. But yeah, I could have done better. So, but that was a great thing to have. You can get trusted house sitters, basic service, like the standard, and that's fine. If that's what works for you, no problem. Maybe if you're just wanting to do pet sits in your hometown area, then you don't need to worry about getting reimbursed or having to like come out of pocket at the last minute if somebody cancels. Go ahead and go with the standard. That's fine too. But if you're traveling, they do not reimburse airfare. Yeah, they only reimburse lodging, not airfare. As far as I can remember, that's another conversation. I don't want to commit to any, like, knowing their policies inside and out. But I will say this: if you are interested in pet sitting, or if you're interested in securing a pet sitter, please do use my promo code. It's down here, right below, right here. Right here. And then also it's going to be in the link in the description. So please, I do welcome you. Even if you're just starting out, um, if you're just starting out and you're not sure yet, start somewhere. Go ahead and start with the standard membership, and it's annual. It literally pays for itself in, like, for me, it paid for itself in like the first week. The annual for me for premium, I think it was 259. No, it's less than that. 229. I should know this, right? I don't. I don't remember. But anyways, whatever it is, it's between 230 and 260, somewhere around there. Um, and yeah, I think it's 259. But anyways, for the pet sitter, literally $259 for 1 year of access to all the listings for any areas that you might want to go to and take care of pets, and or take care of somebody's home and have free accommodations. It paid for itself the first week when I went home to Houston to visit family, and I just like had my own place. I didn't have to worry about getting a hotel. I had a nice little comfy house to stay in and took care of this wonderful sweet dog. So yes, it pays for itself. If you are a pet owner, I met a wonderful young lady. I know I'm jumping all over the place, and if you guys didn't know, I go squirrel all the time. Yeah, I will jump from topic to topic, and it just is what it is. I try to stay on point, but it doesn't always work out that way. Now, if you are a pet owner and you maybe I met a young lady. I did a pet sit for her, and what she did was she was actually going off someplace else, and she was going to be doing a pet sit for somebody else in another city. So she had the premium combo, which is pet owner, pet city, and that was like 319 for the year. Come on, is come on. Are there platforms that you have to that you pay that you get paid for? Rover, have nothing against Rover. It is a great platform if you are local. If you are staying local in a particular vicinity, Rover is great, and you can build a great business model and get paid well doing that on that platform, or even having your own, business model where you might be local. For me, as far as me wanting to go to different areas or different countries, different states or whatever, visit different cities. For me, trusted house sitters is what works great for me. And it's just widened up my options as far as travel. Because I never thought in a million years I'd be staying 2 months in Mexico. I never thought in a million years I'd be here in Spain doing pet sits. Okay, so yeah, with that, yeah, here's my code. Uh, Please do use it. There will be a link that will actually get you right in there and go from there. Okay. So again, just as far as what to do with pet sits that you secure far in advance. It can be a great opportunity. There's definite advantages to filling up your schedule way far in advance. If you know that there's a city or some place that you want to go to, that you want to go to with maybe by yourself or with family in the following year. Yes, it's great to possibly find the pet sit way far in advance, so you don't have to worry about, well, how am I going to get a hotel in this area? I had my own experience, but there are different reasons why there's a good reason to select or secure a pet sit way far in advance. It might be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or a year in advance. That's a good thing. But also know when to say no. I need to step away. Uh, there was a young lady that had a pet sit that she had secured, I think, a while ago, and then all of a sudden the owner started coming back with different, more specific needs that was turning more into, I'm going to become the innkeeper, the housekeeper here, and just asking. I'm not going to go into all the details, but asking for favors and assistance and manners that was not part of the pet sitting description at all. So again, knowing when to walk away and when to cancel, and you're not just staying because of you're trying to get a rating. Do what's going to be comfortable for you. And also, I talked about having the premium memberships that allows you to utilize, get reimbursements through the insurance if a last minute cancellation comes up. Um, they want proof. So please don't cancel and be like, I don't like how she said my name. I don't know. I'm just giving some random examples. I don't know what it looks like. Again, I feel like if you have the premium, there could be some extenuating circumstances, but they do want proof. They absolutely want proof. And one of the things that I did when this person did cancel because they were sick, I actually asked them to go in and cancel the pet sit themselves. And I know I asked her husband too. I can't remember who canceled it, but I put, once I realized that she was sick and we were talking on WhatsApp, I immediately took that conversation back onto the platform, the Trusted House Sitters platform, and was sending communications through there also, so the communication could be logged. But in the end, they had the access, and they actually asked me to send screenshots of the inbox conversation on their platform. I don't know why, but I sent screenshots of everything. But if you're feeling uncomfortable about some kind of request that was made, again, I would move that over to or back onto the Trusted House Sitters platform, just so they can have the conversation. Again, you could always, or excuse me, they can see the conversation, but again, you could always send screenshots of your WhatsApp communication or email communication to them as proof that maybe something wasn't right. Sometimes it's not just a matter of, they were sick or something like that. I've heard one situation where there was she was allowed to bring her dog, and then the dog that she was taking care of started like coming at them. So that pet sit was canceled immediately. Okay, so here's where I go squirrel. I'm going to give some advice. I love taking care of pets, but I want to give some insight on this part. It's great that there are some pet sit situations where you can actually bring your own pet. That is amazing. And they have on there, like, a lot of times you can just say, I'm a traveling pet sitter with my dog, Stanley. Okay. And they're like, oh, yes, our dog would love to meet your dog. We could all just get along. Or my cat does, has no problem with dogs. That's a wonderful thing. But I would suggest that when you do your pre-check-in, and even maybe for like the 24 hours afterwards, make sure that they are in separate rooms and let them like get the scent. So if you're bringing your pet in and they have their dog, make sure that you understand and discuss this with the owner. Where can you maybe have them in the same house? Let them like smell each other on either side of the door. Let their sense, let them get accustomed to the sense before just bringing a pet that they've never seen before, just right on in and just introducing them. Because you don't know how there can be a dog that has never bitten anyone or attacked anybody ever before, and your pet might be the most wonderful pet ever. But if they've never met each other before, that can be a problem, quite frankly. That can be a problem that could have possibly been like headed off had they just had maybe a discussion been had about how we're going to introduce our pets to each other. So I'm sure that, as a general rule, I would say that should be the rule. Now, I am speaking from somebody that has never brought another dog to a pet sit, but I've had plenty of animals before, and also I'm a pet sitter, so I take pets out on walks, and so I have to ask the owners, how's your dog at the dog park? Is your dog okay at the dog park? Um, does your cat try to like run out the house or go after birds? Will your cat? Oh yeah, that's another one. So will your cat be bringing any kind of like treats home, like a bird or a squirrel? Okay, is that what they do? So again, getting them used to the environment that they're going to be in. Which, if you're going to bring your own pet, what is the introduction process going to look like? Remember that one. Okay, it's going to help a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to be breaking this down into 2 videos. I'm not sure yet. There might be a part 3. We'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and keep talking, and I'll go from there. Ouch, I'm about to break my finger. Okay, so we're at the pre-check-in, all right? You're there the day before or a couple of hours before the homeowner is leaving. Usually everything that you talked about in the video during the interview process, you're going to kind of go over that again with them, but they're going to be walking you through, showing you around, showing you where you can sleep, showing you, all the basic functions, also where the dog food is, whatever the pet food is, what their care looks like. I've done PetSits where the pre-check-in consisted of us walking around the block together so that I can get a feel about how the dog is on the leash. It might consist of during that pre-check-in of, hey, let's give treats and everything so they can really kind of get used to you and see if the cat comes out. I've done pet sits where there was like 3 cats and only 1 came out during that pre-check-in. So it just varies. So just know that the pre-check-in process just varies. And again, your pre-check-in could be that the owner is actually leaving in an hour. Or it might be that you're coming the day before and the owner's going to be leaving like early in the morning. So it just varies. Get all the information. If you need to write it down, ask about that guidebook. Not for the most part, every pet owner needs to fill out the guidebook. Some people love doing it. Some people are like, I hate that thing. And maybe they have their own printout of all the details. What day does the garbage come on? Where do we put the garbage out at? Do I need to pick up the mail? Are there any particular packages that might be coming, being delivered right now? Yes. I've definitely had Amazon or UPS people come by and dropping off packages. So things like that. I also like to ask, how's your water pressure? So I definitely ask that, like whether it's an Airbnb or whatever, I'm going to ask, how's the water pressure? Are there any little kinks? There was one little kinks as far as things that are little kinks as far as like things that you might have to like, in order for it to work, you might have to take an extra step. Like one place I could not figure out how to turn on the dishwasher. I didn't know that besides just flipping the switch, you had to actually, there was like a little master switch that you had to like turn on. So things like that. You kind of go down a list as you're walking through. Can you tell me about anything that needs to be considered? Do you need me to water the plants that are inside or outside? How often do they need to be watered? Ask those questions, even though you have the full interview process, and even though hopefully they have the guidebook, ask the questions anyways, just to make sure that it's sunk into your head that you're being as thorough as possible as far as what you might need. Usually, they will, when I'm here, when I was in Texas, I would bring my own towel. I had my own big comfy towel that I loved and my own washcloths. If they have some at their place, yeah, where are your towels at? Yes, things like that. So just to go down a little mental checklist, create maybe a little checklist for yourself. I have one, and if you like some one-on-one coaching as far as getting ready for a pet sit, I'd be happy to help. Just DM me and we shall talk, and we'll schedule a time to talk. But yeah, these are part of the pre-check-in to know, and then also remember to get the key. Okay, get the key, whether it's the code, and I said in my last vlog, sometimes it's a code. So then if they're like, oh, we still need to set up your code, the last maybe 4 digits of your phone number works great, but get the key. I had a situation, and I will put the link regarding the Puerto Vallarta trip pet sit that I did, where the key was left in the lockbox, which I don't know why I didn't think about it until afterwards. They put the key in the lockbox, but I was there the day before to do the walkthrough, and she had an extra key. I thought that she didn't have an extra key, so that's why she didn't give me the key. Anyways, she had just left. I got there 30 minutes later. I went to the lockbox, and the lockbox wouldn't open. Yeah. She was going to be gone for a month, and she was headed to the airport to get on a plane to leave the country, and the lockbox wouldn't open. So anyways, I will put the link to that video, to that vlog, in somewhere in here or in the description, just so, yeah, you got to check it out, because it's, now I can laugh at it, but yeah, it wasn't funny at the time. I was woo-saw stressing out. But yeah, I kept cool and everything worked out the way it was supposed to. Anyways, so yeah, these are the things that you need to consider when you are doing your pre-check-in to get the information that's needed to make it as easy as possible. Make taking care of the home or the pets as easy as possible. Okay, so The next thing I wanted to talk about was getting comfortable. Getting comfortable in somebody else's home. Now, if you are a person that has already done a lot of traveling and you're like used to maybe hitting up the Airbnbs, you're I think that you're okay. I think that you have already found your level that you know how comfortable you can be. But if you're somebody that has not really experienced a lot of Airbnb stays, like myself, um, it's different. Taking care of somebody else's home, and actually the Airbnb is still a little bit different because you're taking care of their home, you're making sure their home is secure, and you're taking care of people's pets. So again, I don't like to. For me, I don't want anybody else in the house when I am taking care of somebody's home or taking care of the pets. So if they have a roommate or a son or daughter that comes in like every now and then just randomly, that's not for me. I need to be completely comfortable in doing whatever I feel like doing in the home legally. Yeah, legally. So the whole point is that the pet owner really does expect you to be comfortable in their home. And I love it when they say, well, this is your place for the next week or so, or this is your place for the next 3 days or the next month. They're like, this is your home, so please do treat it as such. And with that, when you leave, please clean. Please leave the home in the same condition, if not better, than when you arrived. Some people would say, well, don't worry about, washing the sheets, or don't worry about, these things. Just saying don't worry about, washing sheets or washing towels or whatever, which I still try to do. That's just what I do. Does not mean that you leave it like you would a hotel or an Airbnb where they say, we'll take out the garbage. Take out the garbage. This is in my humble opinion. If your thoughts different, then you do you. But I'm taking out the garbage. If I can wash all the sheets that I used, if now that I'm not in Texas and don't have my own sheets, I'm still washing my own sheets before I leave. Um, but I'm going to make sure that I leave the home where I've cared for the pets as as the best condition possible, as far as like better, the same as when I got there or better. That's just the bottom line. So I'm going to be cleaning the kitchen, making sure that I've washed all the dishes that I've used, that I've started the dishwasher, um, making sure that before I leave that, the pets are taken care of, they've been fed, they've been walked, the kitty litter has been cleaned out, whatever it is that's needed for the home to be taken care of and the pets to be taken care of, that's what I'm going to do before I leave. I will never leave a home in some kind of shambles or not, clean. Now, there have been certain times like I didn't have a chance to mop the floor the way I wanted to, just for time constraints. Yes, that happens. I will sweep up the floor. I might, like, if I see, I might get some spray or whatever and like make it presentable. Things do happen. I'm not trying to be the full housekeeper. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they come home to a nice, clean house. So that's always my goal. Some people are like hardcore cleaners and they come in like they'll go to Airbnb and do major cleaning before they can get comfortable. That's not me. That might be somebody else's mission, but I'm going to clean the home and make sure that they come back to a nice, decent home after I've already gone. Can you have company while you're sitting? So here's the deal. I've already said, one, um, if you are going to be bringing like your daughter or a friend with you, like maybe you guys are like maybe your partner or a friend that you guys are going to be pet sitting together, that should be discussed before the pet sit. Should be discussed during the interview process, that you intend to bring you're going to be sharing the duties with somebody else, or my daughter and the baby are going to come, or whatever it is. If you have some kids that are coming, make sure that all of this is discussed and approved and have a very good mutual understanding before that sit begins. During the interview process, lay it out. Okay. um, the other thing is, like when I'm in Houston, I have friends. So am I having like, all my friends coming over? No. But I will say this. There have been times when like I was on a pet sit somewhere in North Houston. My cousin lived right down the street. And I was like, it was a gorgeous house. Now at that time, I was like, is it okay if my cousin comes over for a few hours to visit? she's working close by, or she lives close by. Is that okay? I've asked permission. If somebody says no, I really don't want anybody else in the home, I will respect that. There's too many places that you can go out and meet somebody, or go over to that person's house, or meet them someplace. So that's if the last pet sit that I was on, just here in Madrid, they were like, please don't have anybody else in the home. Okay, no problem. And I still had a great time and went out sometimes and enjoyed, different parts of Madrid. But I have asked if it's okay, and for the most part, if they say yes, then yes. I have a friend that comes over sometimes. I have a cousin that's come to visit me. Maybe we met up before we went out to lunch, so that's fine. But I've always gotten permission. I'm not talking about having, like, 3, 4, 5 people over. I'm talking about one person that might be there for a couple of hours. I had a friend of mine who's actually part of the Exodus Summit group that actually shared with me that. There was a guy that did a pet sit in her home, and he had said yes, a friend of mine, I guess, is coming by. And then when she got back, she realized that this person was, because the beds in both the guest bedrooms were, like, used. And she was like, oh, it seems that this person that was just supposed to be coming by to visit was actually staying there the whole time. That's not cool. That is just not cool. I would never think of opening up somebody else's home to stay with me, without their permission, or without prior notice that, hey, there's two people that are going to be here, um, uh, during this sit. So please don't do that. Being respectful, as much as the homeowners are going to respect that you are using their place, for comfort and joy while they are out of town. Um, they would expect you just to be respectful of their place and not just have random people in their home. And also, and they will know. I've actually talked to some pet owners that have said, like, they were like, no, nobody else is coming over, and nothing was told. But they have cameras on the outside of their home, so they see whenever somebody comes in and when somebody doesn't leave. So yeah, just know that. Please don't think you're being sneaky by having somebody come over after the pet owners or homeowners have left, because the technology in 2024 is real. And if they need to find out who's in their home, they can easily just cameras activated outside the home. It doesn't need to be cameras in the home, outside the home, and they will see that somebody has not left their home. So just keep that in mind, okay? So the next thing I wanted to talk about, we're almost done, guys. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, how are you enjoying your stay? How are you entertaining yourself? What adventures are you going on while you are on this pet sit? So um, a lot of times the owners will suggest to you different things that you can do in the area, or where the closest grocery store is, or where there's some really good restaurants. Yeah, step out. Now, some people, their idea of a vacation is to actually, or the real getaway is to actually go on a pet sit. Maybe it's a cat, maybe it's a dog, or whatever, and that's all they need. They just want to get away and enjoy some peace. And that is a great thing. That's a great option too. But make sure that you have discussed with the owners, like, hey, if you plan on going to, I don't know, some kind of sporting event or whatever, just let them know that I'm going to be gone for this amount of time. I'm not, and I say this, and I said this in the last video, I would never accept a pet sit or any kind of sit where I was expected to not go out. If there is a situation where the cat or the dog or somebody has like the anxiety, where they have the separation anxiety, and that they might tear up the entire house if I'm gone for more than 15 minutes, that would not be a pet sit for me. For others, that would be the perfect pet sit because they don't want to go anywhere, and that's cool. But also, again, if it's something where you're going to be gone, I would say 8 hours. I don't know. Find out from the pet owner or the homeowner what is a good amount of time that your pet can be left alone without it being an issue, or without them peeing in the house, or doing any kind of damage to the house in any way. Find that information out, but also, find out what's going on in the area, whether it's the local Facebook groups, or just, I want to say Instagram or whatever. If you're a foodie, finding out about the different restaurants, or maybe meetups or whatever that are happening in the area. Find out, get out there, talk to people, get to know people. On Meetup, there's definitely like different groups in just about every city you could think of that might be of something of interest to you. So yeah, broaden your horizons maybe, and step out and be open to new experiences in this city that you are appreciating. But with that in mind, make sure that there's the balance between you having your fun and doing your thing, and also keeping up with the responsibilities of the home. If there's a home and there's no pets, then yeah, you can maybe go for like, I don't know, 24 hours. But even with that, I will say this: even if there is not a pet in the home that you are caring for, you still want to just check with the owner. The reason is they may want you in the home because of for security reasons. So if they are concerned about the home looking like it's been vacant for 24 hours, that may not be a situation. They may not want that. They may want somebody to be there, to at least be seen coming in and out of the house pretty regularly. So yeah, even if it is a non-pet care situation, you still want to consider how long would the owner be comfortable with you not being at their home. So that's something to think about also. But definitely, I hope that you are enjoying this journey while you are on these pet sits and taking care of the houses. Whether you want to just go for a long walk or go for some kind of hike or go to a movie or a restaurant, I hope that you are embracing and enjoying the experience of being in. Whether it's another part of town, maybe it's still in your town. Maybe part of your staycation is that you're going to go across town or a mile away, take care of another home, and then take yourself out to dinner or do something just random just because you can. So yeah, embrace the whole experience. Now we are down to the last one. I think that I might just go ahead and just post this entire video. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So we're down to the last one. The last thing that you really want to consider during this whole wonderful journey of pet sitting or house sitting is the checkout time, the checkout process. What does that look like? It's time to check out. It is time to go. You have done your duty. You have taken care of and enjoyed this house and somebody's home and their pets, and it's time to go. So what do I do? So as I stated before, I do make sure that I leave the house in good, clean condition. I will wash whatever I can. Like for me, I like to wash all the towels that I've used. I like to wash, like if I'm using the sheets, I like to wash, the sheets, make sure that all that is done before I leave. The other thing that I do, make sure that, that the dog is good. I'll just say the pets are good. They're fed, right? All that. Great. I like to do an exit summary video. Okay. So whenever I'm leaving, as I stated before though, if I know that they're coming back about, I don't know, say 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then I'm gonna probably be out of there by 3. I prefer not to be in the home when the homeowners or pet owners come back. They should be able to come back to their home just so they can just come in from their vacation or wherever stuff, just relax. They don't need to see me still packing up, trying to get my stuff together, trying to leave. I am doing logistically. I'm planning on getting to the train station or catching a plane and being out of there. And so I've already worked out what time they'll be back and what time I need to leave. Since I'm here, like right now, since I'm here in Madrid and I'm going to be waiting for another pet sit that I start in a couple of days, I just left like a few hours before. But if I know what time the owners are coming back, then I already have booked my plane or my train ticket or wherever so that I can leave. And so I might be already headed out to the airport. I try not to schedule like I will not schedule any flights or trains or wherever. I won't schedule any kind of transportation where I have to like be taken off within if it's less than like 5 hours. Excuse me, if it's more than 5 hours, unless the owner says, oh, she'll be good for 8 hours, or unless the owner says, oh, I have a friend that can come by and take care of, Stanley and you can go ahead and leave early that morning. So those kind of things, those logistics are actually discussed with the owner because I don't want the pet to be home by itself, like, all day long if they don't get back until 8 and I left at, 8 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't do that. But so have the logistics figured out as far as if you need to take some kind of transportation, plane, train, whatever, what time you can leave that makes sense and won't leave the pet home by themselves. So the other thing that I was saying I do an exit summary video. And usually, depending on how big the house is and how much space I was using up, it might be anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is like if it was a lot that we were doing. Okay. But for the most part, 2 to 5 minutes is usually my exit summary video. That's just basically saying, hi, I had a great time staying with Stanley, and your house is wonderful, and we had so much fun. And by the way, here's Stanley. Stanley's been fed, and I just took Stanley out for a walk. And also, and then I continue. What I do is I will go through the house and just point out some things like, hey, bathroom's been cleaned, sheets have been washed. I did not wash the comforter because it was too big, and I didn't want any damage to the washer or to the comforter. I did sweep and mop the floor. The plants have been watered. I'm trying to think what else I might put on there. But it's just a quick little like, hey, here's what happened. Case in point, my last pet sit that I just finished a few days ago, their freezer kept like it would like the ice would build up and the freezer kept just popping open. And so I had to like at one point like really like pull some ice out of there to get it to close. But by the time I was getting ready to leave that day, it again would kept popping open. So I literally showed them, I had already sent them videos about this anyways, but I showed them, I ended up propping a chair up against the freezer door to try to make sure it stayed closed because I didn't want their food to go bad. So that was something that I actually put in the video. But yes, things like that. I do the summary video and then I say, I'm out. Okay. I'm done. I make sure I also, what I do is right when I'm leaving, I will either send a message or show them where I left the key. Some people want the key left in the house because they actually have an extra key. Or if they want the key, like put in there, a lot of times the owners here not in Mexico, in Mexico and in Spain, they seem to just say plop it in the mailbox because the way that mailboxes are in those countries, you can just leave the key in the mailbox. There was another situation in Mexico where she said, just give the key to the doorman. And that's what I did. So all those situations vary, but that's like the last thing that I do before I leave. Also, when I do my exit video, I also let them know that I will reach out to them and follow up to them within 24 hours. I usually say 24, 48, because if they're getting back at 10 o'clock at night, I just want to speak to them and just make sure everything was fine when they came in before we do our reviews on the Trusted House Sitters platform or whatever platform that you're using. Okay. So if it's Rover, I would still do the same thing. I would say, especially if it's a new sit. For somebody that's, you've been doing it for a while, you guys can go in there and put the, oh, Yolanda's just awesome right on there. But for anybody that's a new sit, I do like to talk to them just to do a little quick, like, hey, how's it going? To see like if there was any problems that I did not notice when they got back. So yes, and vice versa. So that is one thing that I do like to do. Not everybody does it. That's just me. I think it's important just to touch base. Sometimes it'll be a phone call. Sometimes it'll be a brief video chat. And sometimes it's just a little text saying, yeah, everything was good. Okay, I'm about to go ahead and do my review. And then that's it. Ta-da! Okay. So, yes, I hope that you guys got a lot of good information from my outline and me sharing what I do on PetSits and things to consider. And again, if you are ready to become a pet sitter or you are a pet owner who would like to get a pet sitter to come and take care of your pups or your animals or just need your house to be taken care of while you're out of town, please do check the link in the description. That'll lead you right to my referral. I guess I get like a month or two off, and I think that you get like if you sign up through the link, you get like 35% off. I want to say it's 35%. If not, you know what? I'm going to say 25% off, and then if I'm wrong, it'll be more. So at least you'll get 25% off. But again, if you really think about it, if I am a pet sitter and I have to pay $259 a year and it's renewed annually from the time that you actually join, and then I actually get an extra 25% off, and you're not paying me anything extra. You're getting a discount, and I'm getting some extra months of free membership. That's all it comes down to, just FYI. But other than that, yes, check it out, join, and then from there, start building your profile. Okay? So, yes, please do hit the like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you next Wednesday, hopefully live, and we will talk about, I don't know what. We're going to talk about something though, right? Right. And what else? Oh, there was something else I was supposed to talk about, share with you. I don't know. It's gone. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys. Please do make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notification so you'll know whenever I do an update, do a live stream or do post a vlog. Anyways, all right.